Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of News You Can Use. I am your host, Brandon Gomez, and you know what you gotta do as we start off every single episode. Make sure to subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell, and follow us on all of our social media. Can I just say this? I can't say too much, because we're gonna keep the tea in the cup, but there's a lot of goodness happening here.
A lot of goodness.
A lot of goodness, right? Like a lot of goodness.
A lot of goodness.
So we're gonna have to just keep that a little secret, but you wanna make sure you're keeping it locked on this channel so you do not miss a beat. Can we talk about what's happening in the news? Because there's a lot of stuff happening, including in Barrie. I think everybody remembers back in February that violent police arrest video that really swept this nation. Just in case you forgot, let's pull up the receipts. Take a look at this.
You can't put your hand behind your head?
My hand's behind my back, man.
Roll on your stomach.
Roll on your
What are you doing, man?
Alrighty, so in that video, as you can see, that 18-year-old, basically this young man, 20-year-old Skylar Kent, being arrested by Barrie police officer Jason Stamp quite violently. Well, we now have an update on that situation. That police officer has now been charged with assault and has been suspended, though, with pay. With pay. With pay.
He's on vacation, guys.
Basically, he's on
vacation.
This is a story that we did cover a couple of months ago. It drew a lot of reaction from people watching at home because it was a vivid display of what some people call excessive force. And so we want to hear, what are your thoughts on this? This is basically a small update, but it is a big one. Because as I mentioned, this police constable is an 18-year veteran with the force and was caught doing this. And my concern is, what if there wasn't a video recording? Would we have known about this? Let us know how you feel in the comment section. And one of the reasons why I brought up that last statement is because of what's taking place down south. We want to talk about two officers in New Jersey who are also facing charges after video footage shows them assaulting a Muslim Arab American teenager in the town of Patterson. Now, I want to tell you the two officers' names. The first one is Kevin Patino. The second one is Kendry Tinio. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Now, the young man's name, who was 19 at the time, is Osama Al-Saidi. And basically, the incident, it took place back in December. But what makes this story kind of scary is that the initial police report didn't state what we actually saw in the video. Eva, I know you've been following the story, so what did that initial police report actually say?
So the police report said that Osama was walking, he walked up to them, he started screaming at them, he became very aggressive, and he actually ended up punching one of the police officers. So they ended up charging him with aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer, as well as resisting arrest, and he was charged for all of these, saying that he approached them, he punched one of them, and he was becoming very, very aggressive.
So this was back in December. When did an investigation actually take place?
2 months later in February.
Wow.
2 full months later.
And I know that Al-Saidi, you know, he's been quoted basically saying some things that he's been hurt by this situation. What has he said? He
said that he was scared for his life. He reported this, but 2 months later, nothing happened. He also said that when he was taken to the hospital because he ended up having a concussion and he was partly blind for a couple months after, he ended up going to the hospital and a police officer followed him there and assaulted him there when there was no witnesses as well. So this was a followed-up assault and no one did anything for 2 months.
Wild, it's wild. I do want to put out that both officers are facing civil rights and obstruction of justice charges. So of course, this is a story that we're going to continue to follow because it's like every single week, sometimes it feels like every single day we're hearing about these type of stories. Law enforcement that is supposed to serve and protect, you kind of have to wonder sometimes, are they actually doing that? And
if it's not recorded, is anything going to happen? Because both of these cases, they had to be recorded for something to happen. Yeah. And after it being recorded, it took them 2 months.
2 months.
So.
Yeah. That's a big, let us know how you're feeling right now in the comment section as well. All right, Little Jamaica here in Toronto. Big up Little Jamaica. A lot of Jamaicans on this team. And we're a lot of Jamaicans on this team. Well, as you know, a couple of episodes ago, we did follow a story about the fear that the community is having that gentrification could ruin this neighborhood. Well, did you know a new motion has been adopted recently by Toronto City Council, which was moved by the area city councillor, Josh Matlow, that they want to study the neighborhood to become a heritage conservation district. Basically, what would this do? It would give the city and province powers to put restrictions on demolition. So it's a small update, but it is a necessary one, and it is one that we're going to continue to follow. So we're going to keep an eye on this story because Little Jamaica means it's significant to a lot of people. All right, I also want to talk about what's happening in India. As we know, here in Ontario, we're dealing with a third wave. Provinces across Canada are dealing with a third wave, but the crisis in India, it's kind of scary. They're dealing with their second wave, but it's devastating. It's killing thousands of people each day, and it's setting world records for daily infections. In fact, listen to this. Medical facilities have started to run out of oxygen, ventilators, and intensive care beds. Now, Eva, I know you have more details on this situation. What have you been able to find?
So now India has now reported in total more than 18.3 million cases, being behind only the US. And that's crazy to think just because of the population of India alone.
More than 1 billion people, right?
More than 1 billion people. And to think that this happened really quickly. Like, you know, most of the countries, it's been steady. This happened really quickly. Like you said, it's gotten so bad that they have run out of oxygen ventilators and hospital beds that people are dying in their cars in front of the hospitals waiting to even go inside.
Volunteers have banded together, a makeshift oxygen army that does the best it can to provide some relief.
Yeah, no, this is why we are talking about this story, and we've been hearing from a lot of people that they're asking for help from world leaders. So I can tell you this, that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on Tuesday has said that Canada is pledging $10 million to the Indian Red Cross, as well as providing personal protective equipment and ventilators to the country. It's a drop in the bucket. Hopefully more world leaders will follow suit as well. All right, I think maybe we need some good news here. Shout out to Scarborough, because Scarborough's very own Randell Adjei is now Ontario's first Poet Laureate. How do you say this word? How do you say this word?
Wait, write it out. Like
Laureate. Poet Laureate. And it's all good. It's one of those words that takes a little bit of, practice to pronounce, but we got it. Poet Laureate. His name is Randell Adjei. He is the first one. It was recently announced, and basically he hopes to inspire young poets and artists in communities across the province. So you're probably wondering, what is a Poet Laureate?
we're all wondering.
Right? Let me tell you. Basically, Randell, he's going to serve a 2-year term as an officer of the legislature, where his responsibilities will include writing poems, promoting literacy here in this province, and boosting the province's poets. Yeah, it's the first time this has ever been announced, and also he's a young black man. So for that, we love it. That's a bit of good news to end off this News You Can Use. Remember this, BG Squad, we drop episodes Tuesdays and Fridays. We are the new 6 o'clock news. And don't forget this, the Brandon Gona Show, our special one-on-one with Canada's top doctor, Dr. Teresa Tam, drops this Sunday at 6 o'clock. You don't want to miss it because it's all what? All goodness. We'll see you in the week.